Yes, it is I, 2-5, going left so much that you thought I was southpaw. 2-5 Daily Sports Reports is ordered in the building. So, first things first, we got a firing in the NBA today, which just seems a little out of place considering that this team just hired Trajan Langdon 2 to 3 weeks ago. And at the time, Troy Weaver was relieved of his duties. And we're a week away from the NBA draft tomorrow. And then they just decided, like, hey, you know what? No mas. Monty Williams, your services are no longer required. Why is that weird to me? It could be because Monty Williams told the Detroit Pistons in the first place that he didn't want the job. But then the owner came out, begged him, signed him to this crazy $78.5 million deal. They still owe him 68 or so going forward. So firing a dude when you still owe him near $70 million just shows you the kind of inept franchise that the Pistons are. Now, I love the city of Detroit. Never been there. I was a big Isaiah Thomas fan as a little kid. You know, that's how my Laker haterhood started, because they called that phantom foul on Bill Laimbeer in Game 6 back in the 1988 NBA Finals when I was just 7 years old. And so you could say at a time I may have been a closet Piston fan. But fast forwarding, why should the Pistons have not fired Monty Williams? Because they're nowhere close to being anywhere significant. For example, they got swept by the Hornets this year. For example, the Boston Celtics during this championship run in the playoffs won more games than the Pistons did in an 82-game regular season. And I can't even talk shit and enjoy that fact because they won more games than the Wizards too. The Celtics, that is. So, you know, as I look at this, I look back at Troy Weaver, came on the job in 2020. Here's something for you. These are the people that this man drafted: Killian Hayes, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, Saban Lee. That was his first draft. Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Livers, Luke Garza, Balsa Korpravica. Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Gabriel Procida, Asar Thompson, and Marcus Sasser. Now, to be fair, Cade Cunningham, they might got one. Marcus Sasser may already be the second or third best player on the team as a second rounder. But how about this? Out of those 13 names that I just said, 7 of them aren't even on the Pistons roster anymore. Just a mere 4 years later. Didn't even make it to their extension eligible contract. 4 of them aren't even in the NBA as we speak. But we fired the head coach that we knew this was going to be a multi-year rebuild. Now, granted, he didn't help himself trying to play Killian Hayes all these minutes, benching Asar Thompson and playing Bogdanovic, even though he was soon to be traded. The league knew what they had in Bogdanovic. He did not need to be put on display. That's first and foremost. The Detroit Pistons have not made the playoffs since 2019. They got swept. You know the last time the Pistons won the playoff game? 2008. I had hair. None of it was gray. I was still in my 20s. Here I am at 42. But you fire Monty Williams after 1 year. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a Monty Williams apologist, because he's spent half of his career being lifted by Chris Paul in New Orleans and Phoenix. But alas, he did make an NBA Finals. Some coaches just deserve to be treated better than this. But I'm not going to act like Monty Williams is a hill to die on. But what I will say is now he has an opportunity to get the job of his choice, potentially. You know, sit out a year, maybe 2 years. We know that his wife is battling breast cancer, and I hope everything is going well there. But at this stage, at this moment in the game, it might be time for Detroit to move to Seattle, dog. Now granted, their fans have been awesome, 15th in attendance, middle of the league, but you got to give me a better product than this, and you got to treat your coaches better if you want to keep your team.